Heroes.
A difficult terrain somewhere in the valley. A place where infiltration was rife. And prying eyes screened every move.
It is not possible to keep the entire area under electronic surveillance 24/7. Hence, we have to have our physical presence in the area to have it under surveillance. We place ambushes. We have got temporary operating bases situated at different locations. We carry out extensive patrolling in this area. While that day we were moving for the encounter, at some places we had excellent cover, but we could not bring out effective fire on the terrorists. Hence, this mission was quite demanding.
In the midst of this is the story of a brave soldier, a man who took the bullet and completed a mission. 26 years old and just a year and a half of service in the Indian Army, Captain Vikrant Deshmukh's tryst with one momentous mission brought him closer to life.
Whenever I used to meet my friends in civil, I always used to say, you people deal with money, whereas we people deal with life. Though I used to take life important, think that life is very important, but after that encounter, I have realized that life is more precious. In that encounter, we lost 3 men. Now I realized that our men can follow you anywhere. They just need a good leader. Never take training leniently, because that's what saves life.
A few kilometers away from the line of control, where attempts of infiltration are commonplace, 27 June 2010 was no exception as the men geared up for the mission.
I still remember that day, that is 27th of June 2010, as it had happened yesterday only. I was called by the adjutant and briefed that we had placed some ambushes along the expected infiltrating routes. So I was told to go and have a look at it. The weather was same when the day started. It was pouring. By the time I had completed my check and came back, the weather had cleared up. As soon as I reached my TAC headquarters, I was told that we'll again have to go for a search. I was very excited that the CO as well as the adjutant had chosen me for that mission. There were only 2 things that were going through my mind. One, to complete the task which I was given, and second, the safety of my men under my command.
Me and 2 of the scouts who were leading, we were on the right side of the spine of the ridge, and Vikrant and the rest of the party were behind. So once the firefight started, me and the 2 of my men who were ahead of me, we fell down and we were returning the fire, and we slipped down from the right side of the spine, and Vikrant and party, they were on the left side of the spine.
Finding the exact location in hilly region is quite not that simple, because in maps we have got only 2 dimensions, whereas on ground the 3rd dimension also comes and it plays a quite important role. So every turn, even if there was 10 to 15 meters of gap, and if we would have started searching from some other place or some other turn, because every turn looks the same in that area. So the NCO who was there, the anti-NCO, he insisted that we'll go ahead I am not getting the exact figure because we were earlier going to start our search a little below from that, and if we would have started from that, this encounter would never have taken place.
Exactly a year after the encounter, Captain Vikrant reunites with his battalion.
Hi, how are you?
Memories of that day linger on.
It was 1840 hours. I was walking fifth in the line of sequence. There was a gap between the person walking ahead of me and the person behind me. It was then when the scout spotted that the terrorists were sitting on top of us and watching and observing our movement. He cautioned us, and that's the time when the firefight started. In the initial contact itself, I was hit by a bullet in my abdomen. I applied a first aid and just tightened up my belt on it. In this case, the terrorists had an advantage as they were sitting on top of us and they were hiding behind the bush. The terrorists couldn't escape moving on top. I spotted one of the terrorists firing and moving towards the Nala in order to escape. Immediately I opened fire and killed him. The second terrorist, who was just behind the first terrorist trying to escape, spotted me and started firing at me. I took cover behind this tree and fired at him and killed him. In that process, there was an intense firefight, and the terrorist sitting above us lobbed grenade. Due to those, I just slept 50 meters down.
Bereft of his gun and radio set, this was the ultimate test for the injured captain.
During the firefight, I fell around 50 meters from that location and I came and landed over here. I was here for almost 6 hours, wherein I was hit by a bullet and there was nobody around me. It was just like a flashback where I could recall all the wonderful events through what had happened till date. The things that were going through my mind were 3 of my men who had got injured in this location were lying somewhere there, injured, and I didn't know as to how their condition was, whether they were stable, whether they were evacuated or they were no more.
I was not that hopeful that Vikrant would be surviving. So there was another of a man called Nagalingam. So last time the party saw him, he was alive. So I called out Nagalingam जोर से, and at that time no reply came. And again waited for 5 seconds. Then out of hope, against hope, I just called out Vikrant. And from down below, around approximately 400 meters down, further down the steep cutting, this tiny voice came out, "Sir." So it was like I couldn't believe myself.
It was around 12 o'clock in the night, and the winter and the cold was also severe. So the pain compiled with the cold, I just thought if I sit over there, I'll just die. So it's better I'll start walking. I'll be safer, and once I will be able to communicate or have a voice contact, my party will come and pick me up over there. So after that, I started walking along this ridge line. It was quite a steep walk. After walking for about an hour, I had covered almost 700 meters. I had established voice contact with my party who had come to rescue me under adjutant. So when I heard his voice, it was as if only one feeling could come in my mind, that now I am in safe hand and now nothing could happen to me.
His voice was so calm and so composed that immediately men who were with me, they've operated much more, they had more experience. Immediately they said कि साहब विक्रांत साहब को मिलिटेंट पकड़ कर रखा है उधर। बोला कि साहब ये हमारा पहला टेन्योर में हमने देखा है, आरआर में भी ऐसे हुआ है, मिलिटेंट पकड़ के रखा है। they want us to go there so that they can get us also. So I said, what makes you think like that? So that boy was telling me, sir, विक्रांत साहब का आवाज में कोई डर कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, मतलब जैसे नॉर्मल की जैसे ही तो उनका आवाज है, आप सुन लो. Then I also got a bit suspicious. I again called out to Vikrant. I told him, Vikrant, you fire a couple of rounds in the air, I can't locate you on the thermal imager. He said, sir, I don't have a weapon. Because appear nahi. He said in Hindi. So that also he said in a very composed voice. Then my doubt started increasing. Then I spoke to him for 1 minute in English. I kept on asking him questions. How are you? Are you alone? So he was like, yes sir, I am alone. And the composure was always there in his voice. Then I somehow formulated in my mind that Vikrant is alone.
An unusual act of dare for a young captain in the Indian Army. This place holds a haunting memory in his life.
After coming here, I still can remember the day when we lost 3 of my teammates. But not a single day has gone when I don't remember them. But over here, I just feel that they're still somewhere around with me.
An act of courage and a test of his nerves, this act won Captain Vikrant Deshmukh a Kirti Chakra. And from that moment on, he has remained an example to fellow soldiers.
Having a gallantry award is nothing for me. I am just happy that I got a chance at this early stage and as early service. And I'm happy that I could make most of it.
He's made a special place for himself in the heart and minds of the people. He is doing exceedingly well in the battalion also. Plus this award of Kirti Chakra has definitely boosted his morale. And I'm sure that he is going to rise very high in the ranks of Indian Army.
Whenever everyone joins infantry, or for that matter any special forces, they always have that thinking. He always wants to see in action. That's why he goes for it, he opts for it. I'm just happy that I got a chance and I utilized it. That's it.